Editor-at-large of the Financial Times, the FT. Gillian, this has been one of those things that we've watched play out like a train wreck in slow motion, but there's been a very visible judge, jury, and you could argue executioner in this, and that's the financial markets. Take us through just how much that played into the decision.
Absolutely. I mean, the financial markets have been very crucial in this story. In fact, you can even say that the bond vigilantes are back. The old James Carville thing that when I'm reincarnated, I want to come back as a bond market. Well, that's true of the UK. And here's a really fascinating thing that, a year or two ago, a country like the UK was in a very different category from a place like Italy. What you've seen happen in the last few weeks as this turmoil has erupted is that British spreads have blown out to be on a par with Italian spreads for a while. You've got the liquidity vanishing in the gilts market. And what you've got above all else is Britain's reputation for being boring and technocratic and competence has gone out the window. What you have is political turmoil, you have financial risk, you have policy uncertainty, all the things that investors used to associate with Italy. But sadly, of course, Britain hasn't got the good food and the wine and the sunshine.
All right. So maybe the best way to look at this is through the lens of those financial markets, right? We talked about this notion that they really kind of gave the verdict. The bond vigilantes spoke out. Those unfunded tax cuts, putting stress perhaps on the economy, on the government, the Treasury's ability to pay things out there, which is why those yields spiked up. But wasn't it, in your mind, the pension plan issues, the possible stress being brought upon pensioners and fixed income gatherers in the UK that really precipitated a lot of the political pressure brought to bear on the Truss government?
Absolutely. I mean, almost nobody emerges from this story with a lot of credit. And the reality is that the pension funds had developed a trading strategy in recent years, which is complex, but essentially was predicated on this idea that interest rates were going to stay low for a long time and they could leverage up their bets on that. It's worth stressing that point because, of course, they're not the only institutions out there in the financial ecosystem who've also bet on rates staying low for a long time and taking leveraged bets on that. But essentially what happened was that when the interest rate started to gyrate, as investors digested this $45 billion hole that was going to come about as a result of the Truss tax plans, the pension funds were hit by this incredible boomerang effect. It got worse and worse. They had to sell gilts in a hurry, and you began to get the makings of a very nasty downward spiral until the Bank of England stepped in. Now, the Bank of England is at fault for not seeing this coming. The pension funds are definitely at fault for taking these ridiculous bets. But at the end of the day, no one should lose sight of the fact that the trigger for this whole problem was this very unwise tax package, which Liz Truss's government tried to announce and which they have now been forced to do almost a complete U-turn on and rip up.
All right, so let's look forward now. We have the current Chancellor of the Exchequer, Jeremy Hunt, who was seen by many as a possible Prime Minister candidate at one point during the process over the last year or so. And then you have Rishi Sunak, who was also part of this process as being viewed as a possible next Prime Minister. What exactly then plays out in your mind in terms of the leadership debate and the leadership selection process? And does this mean that we have bigger general elections sooner than we had thought because of all of this political turmoil?
Well, perhaps the best way to frame what's going on, which is very relevant to other markets, not just the UK, is that this is a struggle between the populists and what I call the technocrats, people who run in a more technocratic, boring, sober style. And in essence, Boris Johnson was a populist. Liz Truss was a populist. The package that came out from her government was very much a populist package. What you're seeing right now, though, is the revenge of the technocrats. Jeremy Hunt is a very sober man who can count and add up. He's never going to win any prizes for charisma and glamour, but he does at least have the credibility of the markets. Rishi Sunak, even more so. He's definitely the market's favoured candidate because he does actually command a lot of fiscal authority. He was, of course, Chancellor for a long time. Now, they're not the only candidates in the mix. We've got other people like Penny Mordaunt, also Bravera is also floating around. And so you could see the populists rear their heads again. And, of course, the big drama of the last couple of hours is that Boris Johnson has said that he wants to throw his hat back in the ring again. Now, the problem with that is Boris Johnson faces some pretty embarrassing inquiries in the British Parliament about the scandal that brought him down last time. So many Tories, who are the ones who will vote on this, don't want to have yet more scandal and drama in public. But as we go forward, this issue between populism and technocratic rule is really important to watch because, of course, in many ways, this sounds a bit familiar to anyone sitting in America right now or other parts of Europe.
Shepard Smith here. Thanks for watching CNBC on YouTube.